Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Now, it is finally done, it is here, and I am finishing it. It is the Shadow Slayer Advanced class for fixing D20 Modern. Although in this instance, it's not really fixing much of anything. This is a class that really is put together very well. It's a top-tier class if you want to run with that kind of a thing. Mechanically, it's great. It was put together, it was conceptualized, executed, and put together flawlessly. Well, not flawlessly, it's not so game-breakingly overpowerful that everybody will take it, like, say, the Fast Hero base class, but it's still a really, really good one. And, well, let's just go ahead and dive right into it so that you can see exactly what it is I'm talking about. To begin with, for the Shadow Slayer, the requirements to get in are a base attack bonus of +3 and the Archaic Weapons Proficiency feat. So, basically, any class could work their way into this eventually. I mean, the strong hero is going to be your fastest way in, but a tough hero could take this. A fast hero could take this. The smart, dedicated, and charismatic heroes can all work their way into this one, and this can give you an interesting array of different kinds of Shadow Slayers with some slightly different skill sets and different abilities to back it that really work out well. So again, this is really well conceptualized and put together here. This gives you some interesting options. For hit dice, you only get a D8, but that's not that bad for this game overall. For your action points, you get 6 plus 1/2 your character level, rounded down. You also get 3 plus your intelligence modifier for skill points. For skills, you get balance, climb, concentration, gather information, intimidate, knowledge for current events, pop culture, and streetwise. You also get listen, profession, read-write language, sense motive, speak language, spot, and tumble. And the only thing I would really think about modifying here is combining listen and spot and giving this class just perception. Your base attack bonus, you still get a great progression. You start off at a +1 and end at a 10. Your fortitude, reflex, and will saves are all in a solid spot. None of them are great, but none of them are bad either, so there's really no weaknesses here. You start off at a +1 and then end with +5s in all 3 of these. And it's the same for your defense bonus as well. So it's not bad, but it's not the greatest, but still a solid progression here. The only thing that's really weak is your reputation bonus, but from a mechanical standpoint, this kind of makes a certain amount of sense to me. You're not flashy, you're not over the top, you don't have a lot of these incredible skills and ability. You still have some great abilities here, but they're not flashy and eye-catching. And generally, whatever you're going after, you're putting down and killing, and you don't want somebody to recognize you instantly on sight more often than not. You don't really want them to see you coming, as it were. You want to blend in with the crowd, and so that way it gets you into a better position to strike at the targets you're going for. But, of course, it's the class abilities that really make an advanced class, any of these classes, live and die, and you really thrive here. To start us off at level 1, we have Detect Shadow. Shadow is just the, in Urban Arcana, and actually not even Urban Arcana, just in the core rulebook, the theme that this comes out of, the setting style, is called Shadow Chasers. Basically think like the Supernatural TV series. Hunters out there in the world tracking down vampires, demons, different kinds of creatures from myth and folklore, and putting an end to them. So, Detect Shadow. The Shadow Slayer is uncannily aware of Shadowkind and the true reality around them. Once per Shadow Slayer level, the Slayer can sense the presence of Shadowkind. Normal humans, animals, and vermin don't register on this, so they don't count. This requires an attack action and concentration. This lasts a number of rounds equal to the Shadow Slayer level as long as the Slayer concentrates and goes out to a 30-foot radius. On the first round, they will detect the presence or absence of shadow creatures. On the second round, the number of auras from creatures or objects in the area and and the strongest creature present will be registered. If the power of the strongest aura is overwhelming and has a rating of at least twice the Shadow Slayer's level, the Slayer is stunned for 1 round and the ability will end. The Slayer can't act while they're stunned, and they lose any dexterity bonus to their defense, and attackers will also gain an additional +2 bonus on attacks against them. And then on the 3rd round, the power of each Shadow Aura becomes clear. If it's not in the Shadow Slayer's line of sight, the Slayer will then learn its direction but not the exact location. And when it comes to the ratings, they vary just a little bit here, as you can see in these rough charts that I've kind of sketched out there. For the creature or object, if it's an outsider, the rating is based off of their hit dice. Magic items or spells, it's the caster level times 1/2. Aberration, constructs, dragons, elementals, or undead creatures are their hit dice times 1/2. All other denizens of Shadow, the rating is their hit dice times 1/5. So outsiders really register really strongly here. And outsiders, if you don't know, are angels, demons, devils, azatas, archons, things like that. And then the ratings, if it's 1 point or lower, it's a faint aura. 2 to 4 is moderate, 5 through 10 is strong, and 11 or higher is overwhelming. And so that's where the hit dice comes into play there regarding the Shadow Slayer and the rating of the creature that they're dealing with. And this kind of gets across that thematic element when somebody's casting their mind out to try to find something, locate something. And once they touch on it, that power, just the sheer magnitude of the power, touching upon it, looking upon it, has a way of reflecting back, and the weight of it can just be shocking or stunning. In fact, the TV series Supernatural had a moment like that where the Winchester brothers went to a psychic, spoilers by the way, somebody to conduct a seance to reach out and find this angelic creature. When she used her power and looked upon his true form, it burned her eyes out. That's a little bit more extreme than just being stunned, but it's also a very extreme example, and a biblical example, a literal biblical example. So, anyways, that gets the idea across there. Next up at level 2 is Shadow Immunity. The Shadow Slayer gains damage reduction against the natural weapons of the denizens of Shadow. Natural weapons are bite, claw attacks, etc. Shadow Immunity doesn't reduce the damage dealt by firearms, melee weapons, or hazardous effects. So it's just the natural strikes. So if you're getting clawed by a werewolf, you will take less damage in that instance. But if that werewolf is in their human form and they pull a shotgun on you and shoot you with it, you're going to take full damage from that. The damage reduction is equal to 1/2 the Shadow Slayer's level in this class, rounded down. So if you're a level 10 Shadow Slayer, you get a 5 damage reduction against those natural attacks. It's not much, but it's something, and it adds up. And this will, of course, stack with, if you're a tough hero, this will stack with that damage reduction class feature there. So you can start stacking things, and that comes out to be pretty nice overall. For bonus feats kicking in at 3rd, 6th, and 9th level, you get to select from things like acrobatics, advanced combat martial arts, alertness, cleave, combat reflexes, defensive martial arts, elusive target, exotic melee weapon proficiency, great cleave, power attack, and unbalanced opponent. Not a bad list overall, largely combat oriented. The only one on there is exotic melee weapon proficiency, which, I don't know. I've thought it before, and the more I think on it, the more I don't necessarily like that feat, because, I don't know. Weapons being exotic is something more of a culturally relevant sort of thing, and particularly in the U.S., where it's such a melting pot of cultures, depending on where you're at, largely on the coast, but you can find such a wide variety of different cultures. You also find a wide variety of different martial arts styles being taught that includes a wide array of different kinds of weapons. So it's like, that feat can be kind of iffy, but we're not here to discuss the merits of feats. I've got to keep on track. We are discussing the Shadow Slayer class abilities, and to that end, at level 4, you kick in with Slayer Weapon. The Shadow Slayer can empower any melee weapon they wield. An empowered weapon counts as a magic weapon in the hands of the Shadow Slayer, providing an enhancement bonus equal to 1/2 the Shadow Slayer's level in this class. So again, level 10, you're getting a +5 enhancement bonus. This bonus allows the weapon to deal extra damage and harm creatures with damage reduction. Any melee weapon may be empowered, including unarmed strikes. It takes a full round action to empower a weapon and is only empowered in the Slayer's hands. This bonus lasts a number of rounds equal to the Shadow Slayer's level in this class. So, again, at level 10, for 10 rounds, you can have a +5 bonus to your weapon. And it will count as a magic weapon and allows it to deal extra damage and overcomes damage reduction. So that's awesome right there. It doesn't say it gives it a bonus to the attack overall, just to the damage and overcoming damage reduction, but that's still really, really handy, even if you're not counting a bonus to the overall attack roll. And then going on after that, you get Shadow Enemy at 5th and 7th level. At 5th and 7th level, the Slayer selects a type of shadow creature as a favored enemy. Due to their extensive study and training in the proper techniques for dispatching these select foes, the Slayer gains a +1 bonus on bluff, listen, search, sense motive, and spot checks against these types of creatures. They also gain a +1 bonus on weapon damage rolls against these targets, and that's at each level. After 5th level, they may add a +1 to the bonus against each of the favored enemy types: aberrations, constructs, dragons, elementals, fae, giants, humanoids, lycanthropes, magical beasts, monstrous humanoids, outsiders, or undead. So this can really, again, ramp up your skills against your select targets, and also you get that bonus against each of the favored enemy types. So you get 2 different types, and these are fairly broad in and of themselves, or at least they can be. Dragons is fairly broad, elementals definitely, and outsiders absolutely. So you can really, really begin to rack things up. Now, I did have a DM that made me select a specific type. So for outsiders, I had to go with demons specifically. Undead, I had to go with vampires specifically. So your DM may require a little bit more of a specified selection, but the text here does say the favored enemy type, not a specific monster or category within the type, just the type overall. So this is either good but focused, or really good and with a broader kind of focus, because selecting outsiders gives you a pretty good range. Again, demons, devils, azatas, archons, angels, all these different kinds of outsider creatures. So, just talk with your DM and see how willing they are to allow you to be flexible in picking these out. Anyways, I could start waxing on a little bit too much. At level 8, we get fast healing. The Slayer gains fast healing equal to 1/2 this advanced class level. So, again, level 10 Shadow Slayer, that's 5 points of fast healing. That's 5 points of fast healing that you have going, and that's fast healing is a per round kind of a thing. So that's really, really good. It's not regeneration. It's not an instantaneous effect. It takes you a couple of seconds to have that going, but it's still pretty damn good. And then after that, the final thing that we get, the pièce de résistance, is Word of Slaying, coming in at level 10. By spending 1 action point and using an attack action, the Slayer may utter a word of power that can devastate creatures of shadow. The Word of Slaying affects any shadow kind within 15 feet of the Slayer. If they have 12 or more hit dice, they're dazed. At 8 to 11 hit dice, they're stunned. 4 to 7, they're paralyzed. 1 through 3, they're killed outright. A dazed creature cannot act for 1d4 rounds. A stunned creature is stunned for 2d4. Paralyzed cannot move or act for 1d10 minutes. A killed creature dies if it's living, or is destroyed if it's undead or a construct. So, this is an incredible way for clearing out a bunch of riffraff in one go. And paralyzing them, I mean, gosh, by the time you hit this, if you've gone the fastest way into this with Strong Hero, you're level 13. So a group of 4 to 7 creatures is, you know, that's not nothing, especially if they're all level 7. Like, for a level 13 character, 3 level 7 opponents, you will probably survive that, but they're going to do some damage to you. Once they're all in close, you hit them with this, and boom. Can't move or act for 1d10 minutes. They're helpless to you. They are at your mercy, allowing you to dispatch them pretty readily, if you're so choosing to do. And 12 or more hit dice, they're dazed. Now, DMs, I'd recommend you take a little bit of leeway with this. Like, if they're going up against like a level 18, level 20 opponent, granted, dazed is not the most super debilitating status effect to have, but you can take a little bit of license here. If they're going up against the big bad and they're only level 13, 15, and big bad's level 20 or whatever you have them set at, you can have them just kind of work their way through this, or automatically take the minimum for only being dazed for one round. So players, be ready for that in that instance if you're going up against a significant opponent like that, either the big bad or one of his or her or its more powerful lieutenants or captains. But otherwise, this is still great. I mean, you have a status effect here. You have bonus damage coming out. You have, you're able to overcome damage reduction. You have fast healing. You have your own damage reduction from a creature's natural attacks. And in the cases of, you know, again, werewolves, dragons, all the different kinds of outsiders, having damage reduction against their natural attacks isn't nothing. Those creatures will use a lot of natural attacks, so this is great to have. This is a really good class all the way around, and you get some detection abilities that are not insignificant either. I mean, it's limited to detecting magical things, but that's exactly what you're doing if you're taking this class. You're dealing with magical things, so this is perfect. Like, this is a great class all the way around. I say it's perfect. The ability specifically is perfect for this particular class. This gives you a wide range of things to do, and the skill list isn't shabby, although you're not getting the most amount of skill points. If you even have just a moderate intelligence, like a 14, a 12, hell, even if you just have a 10, you're still going to be doing all right, because again, against your favorite opponents, you're getting some decent bonuses to those skills. And compare this class to the Archaic Weapon Master, the other melee-focused build that is going to be using archaic weapons. You're going to outclass them every single time. As I mean, they're built for this specific kind of a thing too, this specific setting. They come out of the Urban Arcana book. They should fit into this role nicely, but the rules as written, you're gonna wash them every single time, and it's going to be worse for them if they're any kind of a shadow kind creature. So that means dwarf, elf, hell, there are shadow kind humans from other more magical realms who have made their way here in one fashion or if I may confess, it is one of my favorite classes. It's one of the advanced classes I took one of my longest running characters into, and very, very successful character, by the way. In that he survived everything so far. But that'll be a story for another time. This has been the Shadow Slayer class, as presented to you by me, your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. We're going to call it there. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, go on down there to the comments, type it out, let me know what you thought, or hell, even if you disagreed, you didn't like what I threw out here, type it out anyways. Hit the dislike button, hit the like button, let me know what you thought. And if you did enjoy everything here and you want to see more, I've got 2 more videos popping up over here. And if this hasn't been your first stop so far, then, well, you must be enjoying something here at the Gamers Den. So go on down there, hit that subscribe button, and become a regular member and get notified the next time I upload more content here to the Gamers Den. But with that said, Once again, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.